Strategic failure here, and we are back in the Emirate of Bambara in Europa Universalis V version 1.0.10. So welcome back everybody. If you are enjoying these videos, please do like and subscribe. I am trying to get to the very modest number of 10 subscribers. This is still a new channel, so please do subscribe so I can get those 10 subscribers, and then I will set a slightly larger target for myself after that. Right, as you can see here, we were suffering from a problem last time where we had our Bam Bam Union, and Bambuk ended up being annexed by Karina, and that was disappointing, but it is what it is, and so we will have to carry on from there without Bambuk. It has kind of split us off from our vassals over on the left there, which is a bit of a problem, but hey ho. This is where we are. We're not going to do anything about it yet. We might try declaring war on Karina, but at the moment they are allied with Tunis and Grenada. That's not going to be a wise idea. We do have Morocco, but Morocco aren't interested in joining in because I think they are also allied with Grenada. So one of the first things we attempted was to persuade them that they did not want to be allied with Grenada anymore. I don't even know where Grenada is on the map. Like I do personally know where it is, but I've yet to discover it in this game. So yes, but we managed to force them to break that alliance. That lot of good that it did. One of my problems was the fact that I'm still suffering from a lack of lumber and various other things going on. So I was building some more RGOs. And I spent a lot of this stream building more RGOs because I could. My economy is looking very healthy. So I'm finding lots of things to build, to spend my money on. I'm spending my money on making more money. Okay, so slightly later on we got to the point where actually we could persuade Morocco to join us in a war against Karina. My concern here was the fact that it would take them some time. They're just to the north of Bambara there, and it would take them some time to get their troops all the way down there. So I thought that wasn't a risk I was going to take. I built some more armories so I could build some more troops because I am slightly concerned if Karina decided to turn against me. That would not be good. And I did some more colonizing of the bits of Africa next to me. I set up a couple of colonies once I had the money. I didn't want to do any more than that though. So then I was looking at my market issues. We had real big problems with a lack of iron and a lack of lumber. And one of the reasons for that is, as you can probably see there, I am using most of my trade capacity, like at least half of my trade capacity, to export ivory. So that was not ideal. I also had some trades that are not working. You can see here as well, I'm not actually, I'm wasting a lot of that trade capacity. That's the, don't need to be doing that. So I tried to persuade the AI that it wanted to use my trade capacity in a different way. See, I'm using 74 trade capacity on ivory. If you look at where it says market automation, I have about 155 trade capacity in GNA. So I don't want to be using it all on, or at least half of it on ivory when I'm lacking so many other things. I spent some time looking at my cultural situation. As you can see there, we have the Soninke people who, and the Songhai people who have not yet got as accepted cultures. We first started by tolerating the Songhai because that's 15% of our population. You notice, however, we've got the Dogon, who are only 1% of our population these days. So perhaps we do not need them as an accepted culture anymore. Got the Soninke there as well. It wasn't costing me lots in cultural capacity to do that, and of course then that gained me some cause. And I think eventually once I was able to, I no longer accepted the Dogon. And you can see I've got a bit of a control issue here. We've got all these little bits out here that I've got very little control over, and my strategy was what everybody else does, of course, is to create a few more vassals. And so I spent quite a bit of time giving away various bits of land to new vassals. We have Ka'ata, which has come back from the dead. If you remember in previous episodes, we managed to invade and conquer all of Ka'ata, so now they are coming back from the dead. And they're going to be quite a large vassal there. It's made Bambara less of a interesting shape. We've also got that area over there which was formerly a Portuguese colony, but Portugal abandoned it at some point. And after some faffing around trying to find the correct buttons, I did in fact create another fiefdom there of, I believe that was Nuakchot. I have absolutely no idea how that should be pronounced. But they were a lovely pink colour. I believe they're actually all Catholics there. And they're also lovely in pink. I created some universities because I wanted my people to be cleverer than they currently are, and I wanted to take advantage of the fact that we were getting some research happening now. We have been gaining some institutions, so that's been great, and I wanted some universities once I had a little bit more money there we go, to improve that situation even more and improve the people of Bambara. Now we've got a parliament, so you know what this might mean. We decided to fabricate a casus belli, and we were looking at Borgu there. Okay. Borgu are, I think they were something to do with Sokoto and Kanem. I think they were vassal now. The issue I was having was the fact that it was going to cost me a lot of stability because I still had military access with Kanem for some reason. So I got rid of that and started this war against Kanem, Borgo, Sokoto and Fezzan. And Morocco kindly came in to join us, but we didn't really need Morocco. I think they were quite weak there. And something I'm going to try in this video, something new, is I'm going to show you the whole war, but at fast forward speed. So here we have my troops whizzing around, because this is, let's be honest, this is why you want to watch an EU5 video. It's to watch people invade other countries. So a little bit of army organisation there, and off we went to Borgu. There we go. And now, as you may know, sieging cities or sieging anywhere with a fort takes absolutely ages. So even at, I think this is about 5 times speed, it's still going to take us a little while. We're going to see some battles there, but we severely outnumbered them. I don't think there was any risk of us losing this. And as you can see, our allies, the Moroccans, started coming in up the top there as well. We got lots of slaves. And as you can see, we won lots of battles, and we gradually shaded in Borgu. I think my aim was to take the entirety of Borgu and then probably release it as a vassal, because it's far too much land for me to integrate. And I think that this was kind of the theme for this playthrough, this video. The theme was the fact that we were going to attack these people over to our east. Because they were quite weak, like technologically they didn't seem to be anywhere near us. Because I don't think the institutions are spread there. They haven't really got that border with Morocco. So they haven't got the institutions. As you can see here, we are gradually taking over all of Borgu, chasing down their troops, trying to stop them taking stuff back again. Nope. There we go, winning more battles. There's our allies. They started sieging parts of Sokoto, which I think we did as well. We wanted to take all of that stuff, and eventually we managed it. There we go. So yeah, very odd shape there. So the easiest thing here was to create a subject. I think I did actually create this through an historical subject for once. I don't know why that screen looks so different to the custom subject screen. And we did end up giving them, as you probably saw there, a couple of other provinces. There we go. Busuna particularly was a particularly large province with a lot of population, so we wanted to integrate that nicely. And then we've got barely any Soninke left now, where we've sort of done all that stuff with our vassals. So we no longer needed to tolerate them. We are now intolerant towards them. I think we might have a look at the Mossi at some point down here, because they look like they're about 13% of our population, so it's worth adding them to our accepted cultures. And we may even at some point remove the Dogon as well, because there's only 2% of them. So it just means that when we accept those cultures, those areas are going to become cores. As long as we've integrated them, I think they are all integrated. And so that's to our advantage. We just need the prestige to do so, and I was pumping money into prestige in order to be able to do that. And I think at some point we did accept the Mossi. Somebody was asking about who I can form as Bambara, at the moment Mali, which is slightly weird. If we owned Niani, we could actually form Mali. I'm not going to. We're not big enough to form a kingdom yet. We're not that far if we start to integrate. Now, Karina decided that they wanted to declare war on me. Having taken my vassal unfairly last time, they declared war. They didn't declare war on me, they declared war on Qatar, and then the traitorous Moroccans did not join in. So that was the end of all that effort we put to make Morocco our ally. When we actually needed them, they didn't join in. This was a fairly even fight. I think once my troops were raised, it looked like we had more, but my allies did not do a particularly good job. And they had so many forts. Like, it seems to be what the AI is spending its money on around here is forts, probably because they've noticed that otherwise I might invade them. And so yes, we have another fast forward war where they did have some success in invading Qatar. Like, it seems to be a hobby here. And I ended up in a less than ideal strategic situation for a change. Yeah, this is the name of the channel. We don't make the best strategic decisions sometimes. And you can see I've got these two armies, and basically I end up with one a very long walk from the other. And I did have a look at some mercenaries. I don't think it was worth buying any mercenaries. Theoretically, we should have won this. We were larger than them. We lost them very silly battles. I think I struggled to ensure that my troops had recovered from their walking before we actually started the battle. And so that was a bad idea. You can see we're with negative war score here, which really shouldn't be the situation. I think we learned our lesson there. We decided to have a parliament there. I don't think we got anything from that. And so yeah, I waited before then attacking their troops rather than going in with like barely any morale, because we've just walked across half the country. And this did help for a bit. This they were getting that war score because they'd taken bits of Carter. And they were looking at some of my other vassals. This is where I started to struggle with the fact that my vassals are disconnected from me via Karina, because it was difficult to cross Karina with all the forts that they've got. I didn't have, they had the zone of control on the forts, meant I wasn't able to cross the country, and of course they could because it was their country. And I did split off my armies from one another. This lot ended up going down there. They did manage to find a way through. Did seem to be a way through there. but later on there wasn't. I think maybe they conquered something. I struggled to look. You see that army wandering off there, going all the way around the back. I clearly lost the zone of control there somehow, and this was my mistake. I've now got my army split up. I think because I don't understand how I could get through there at one point and then I couldn't get through there again. I think it's because of the fort that they've conquered there in Bure. I think that was the issue here, rather than building a new fort or something. And I think I was looking at various options how we could piece this out as soon as possible. You see they've got quite a large army there that's larger than mine, and that one there. And things were starting to look less than ideal, and this was basically just a big waste of time at this point. I didn't want to carry on. I think I wasn't sure I was going to take anything from them without dragging this out. It was going to take me a very long time to get any of their provinces, or to take back the ones of mine they've taken. Eventually they were offering me, I could have gone for a white peace. I dragged things out a bit longer, made various attempts to see if I could get anything, but no. We were plus 18 on a white piece, despite the fact we were minus 24 on war score. And then they offered me an alliance, like almost immediately afterwards, which was rude, frankly. So, yeah, so we didn't say yes. We got to the Age of Reformation and we took the military focus because, yeah, that's kind of our thing. If we look to the right there, you can see Borgu, a different Borgu, has declared its independence from Sokoto, and we wanted to take advantage of that. So we couldn't intervene in the war, and as you can see, they have considerably fewer troops. But I did feel we could do something here to expand our borders a bit further. Between them, they're not that strong. Ouagadougou would not get involved if I start a war. They are involved in the war for Borgun independence. Borgunian? I don't know. Borgun independence. And so we no casus belli them. I don't normally do that, but I think at this point it was just like, yeah, we can take advantage of this situation here. It's exactly the sort of thing certainly EU4 AI would have done. Oh, look, you're particularly weak. You're fighting a war already. Let's start a war with you. So we now have our third and final fast forward war of this video, and the Borguns fought valiantly. We did have a slight issue. Now the purple Borguns, not my ally. That's confusing. There's two Borgus. We're going to have brown Borgu and purple Borgu. Yeah, but the purple Borguns fought valiantly when they finally let me get into their territory. So they're losing stuff down there to Ouagadougou. I can't fight the Ouagadougans because they're not in my war, but they are in that war, and I can't take the land that Sokoto taken from Borgu because Borgu won't let me in. You see that I'm trying to do various bits of persuasion and get military access. I gave them military access, and they do eventually see the light. Like this wasn't a struggle. This was our second war against Sokoto in Kanem, and as we found before, it's not a great struggle to fight them. Not as much as it was against Karina. Karina are the sort of balancing strength against me at the moment. They are the threat, if there is a threat other than the colonial nations that were very quiet throughout all this. The Spanish, thankfully, don't seem that interested in me. That's been my famous last words. The moment I start up the game again, the Spanish are going to, the Castilians are going to declare war, aren't they? We had that silly little union that we've got going on with Griau, which is another vassal of Karina, so we're not that bothered by that. And yeah, I took quite a fair bit of Sokoto's land, and so did my vassals, and I don't think I've got any allies. I think it was vassals. Finally, I think we managed to persuade Borgu that we could get into their territory. There we go. We finally got military access, so we can then go and unsiege the stuff that Sokoto. Like anything that Ouagadougou siege got transferred to Sokoto anyway, so we end up playing a bit of a silly game where Ouagadougou would siege something. I couldn't do anything about it because I can't fight the Ouagadougans, I'm not in that war. And then I'd siege it back again. It was slightly pointless, to be honest. I could fight the Sokotans, I could not fight the Ouagadougans. So we did our best trying to take stuff back, but it wasn't hugely successful. And eventually, sadly, the Borgans did give up. Despite the fact that Sokoto was losing, but I think Ouagadougou are just on their own are still quite powerful. And we had just had this silly situation. You see, they're sieging somewhere there. I can't do anything about that. I'm not at war with them, as I've said multiple times. So yeah, there we go. Borgan gave up, and that just left me against Sokoto and Kanem. And very quickly, I managed to take quite a lot of their land and raise up the war score quite a way. I was debating what exactly I wanted to do. I'm still after more access to the sea, so I think that was part of the plan, or at least get a vassal that had access to the sea, and just generally surround Garina and Ouagadougou, so eventually we will be able to conquer them. It's not happening right now. They're still too strong, or we're still too weak. Ouagadougou's had a bit of a rebellion over there on the left, but I don't think that was going to last long. They have quite a lot of troops, quite a lot of levies, and as you can see, we've got a lot of sieging going on. I was just hoping my siege would finish before their siege did, and then I went, I think I managed to get down there before they managed to unsiege that. And ironically, of course, now I'm taking the land that we were trying to defend previously from Borgu, because that's not at all confusing. They were attempting to rebel, of course, and now I'm going to attempt to try and take entire provinces if I'm going to take anything. I got a little bit ambitious here, I think, with how much I was going to take. I think looking at the numbers, I wasn't going to get all of that stuff. And to increase the war score any further, I was going to have to do a lot of sieging, and I did not have the patience to do a lot of sieging. It takes so long, even in 1547. I don't have a lot of cannon. They wanted to white piece me. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, there was much of comedians as the Koreans were for attempting to ally me after they'd just been in a war with me. And yeah, we had a few more battles, and even though this is a fast-forward war, nothing moved very fast. Yeah, we just kept smacking their troops. I think I had some diplomatic capacity issue. I think I was concerned that if I had more vassals, I was going to run out of diplomatic capacity, but that didn't happen. And eventually, we do decide to end the war, but we get less ambitious about what we're taking. I think I took that bit of land there. That wasn't going to happen. This one was. So I think that was going to give me a nice area all the way down to the coast. For a vassal, I was just going to create another vassal out of this land because, yeah, I was never going to control that. So we take all of that from Sokoto, and then we turn it into another vassal. So we are pretty much there for today. We've had 3 wars, 2 of which were more successful than the other, and we're making some progress, taking over everybody as vassals, just because we do not have the control to to take over too much else, to be honest. I think getting any bigger than the dark brown blob we are there is going to be unwise. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will remind you once more to please like and subscribe, and we will be back again next week with the next episode of the Adventures of the Emirate of Bambara.